Okay, I guess we're ready to get started. I want to thank everyone for being here. I'm really looking forward to hearing both Fernando and Cyrus read tonight. Fernando has a distinguished curriculum vitae, but I first heard of him shortly after Alex Nieto was murdered on Bernal Hill. And back in the days, I guess before people did social media types of things exclusively, he just did a little handwritten, like, little pamphlet thing, like I don't know, how'd you print it out? I don't know, whatever you did. But there it was at La Boheme. And I read it and I thought, this is an event of major import for the community. And this is the first time that I've seen someone say something that was compelling, cogent, and necessary about this tragic event. And I was very impressed by that. And I love the fact that he had just, of his own accord, made this commentary, taken that responsibility and put it out there to the places where people congregate in the days when people did congregate, which are sadly many fewer now. But so I've always considered him an important asset to the community ever since that time. And he is, of course, he's a housing activist, an architect, a primal futurist of sorts. He has his hands in a lot of essential things to the community, and he's also a visual artist and a poet. And I'm very delighted that he's going to share some of his thoughts in verse with us tonight. So, Fernando Marti.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So I've got little Post-it notes to tell me where to go, what to read. But not quite the order. So as we were waiting to start, I will read my waiting poem. We who wait. Waiting on curbs, alone on a bench no one wants to share, or crowded together under a shelter in a sudden downpour, waiting for the diesel bus or the line spark of the electric trolley, waiting with children finding treasures of bottle caps and glass pipes in the crack of the concrete, waiting with Foodsco bag or Safeway overflowing to ripping, with stroller or wheelchair, we wait for the line that takes us to loving arms, to cramped bed, to the sticky grease on kitchen ceiling, to the fractal designs of bathroom mold, or the subtle levitation of lead peeling under windowsill, waiting to drop off children at a crowded house, or to pick up others at an immaculate flat, to clean or to guard, or pick up scraps off the white tablecloth, waiting. They love to make us wait. It isn't just the wages or the rent that keeps us in our place. It is the waiting. This is the condition of our class, the waiting. And we see you too, waiting also across the street for your white shuttle and Uber Lyft. You don't seem to see us. You would never join us, would you? Your white shuttle Uber Lyft arrives, whisks you away, and we wait. We still waiting. We wait, we wait, we wait for earthquakes, firestorms, hurricanes, wait for financial collapse, wait for an election that won't save us. We can no longer wait. It will start here, waiting on curbs when we start walking, no longer waiting when we begin to move. So that's my waiting poem. So this is a chant. I don't know about chants. This is a chant for Ned Ludd. Who's a Luddite here? Any Luddites? All right, we've got Michael's a Luddite. Throw your clogs in the cogs, sabotage. Throw your clogs in the cogs, sabotage. We ain't going nowhere. These machines are ours. This labor is ours. These trees are ours. This food is ours. This land is ours. These homes are ours. These hours, these hours, these hours. We take back what is ours. That's my Ned Ludd chant. So COVID meant I had a lot of COVID poems sitting around and after Zoom calls. So this is a COVID poem. This is the time. This was a time of turning inward, a time of staying inside, of things long neglected, of sweeping out the cobwebs and preparing the altar, burning sage and copal, of mourning and remembering and gathering up the ones we love, of baking bread and sewing mass, checking in with distant friends and sidewalk visits, of giving away and sharing books and toys and stories. Perhaps it was a time when we looked out from our homes and screens and thought, this was a time to close the prisons and send our brothers home, a time to open hotel rooms and give our unhoused mothers home, perhaps a time to abolish cops altogether, give them gardens and time with the soil to heal. But this is still the time, always the time of danger in the streets, of danger, even sleeping in our homes or driving to the store, of the disease of police, of boot heel and knee at the throat, the vector of the bullet, the infection of the bitter noose, the virus that chokes off breath in young black bodies. This is, again, a time of gathering, as though our grief wasn't enough, our altar fires not large enough to contain all the loss that multiplies. This is the time of things long neglected. So, this was an old poem. This was from 2001. New Year's poem. How is it that we can still wake to sunlight, to clean swept streets, to an ocean wind making its way over Twin Peaks, to a morning smile when we know about the night? How can one begin to describe forest, moisture, mushrooms, a flower growing in the bark, when we've seen the valley's topsoil pushed by wind into dust, smelled the place where cattle come to die by the thousands, eaten up the burning miles with gasoline? How can we expect anyone to love this city, this work of men, these homes, these towers, these 1,000,001 stories, this look we give each other passing on the street, this smile, a free gift to a stranger, when we know of smallpox blankets and bounty scalps? My little room, my candles, the cat on the bed, the tall Victorian windows, the ceiling painted blue, the black angel wings hanging above the headboard. How can any of it be true when we know just beyond are the asphalt, the concrete, the wall, the hard bed, and the silent scream of metal grate sliding on metal track? I light the candles one by one. This one I burn for you. This one I burn for myself. This I burn for every one I have ever loved. And this one I burn for the perfect world we will never see. This year, I will learn to sharpen my knives myself, my saws, my planing blades, my chisels. In the workshop, it doesn't matter if it is night or day. What matters is that we are learning to give shape to things, to give form to that which isn't yet, to bring sunlight into darkness. All right. So I've got, I hope I don't embarrass, I've got a poem for Michelle and I have a poem for Carmelo. So this is a poem for my partner. I used to write in metaphors about what it is to be a man. I would die for you, my love, I wrote. But now I don't need metaphors because we are here, you and I, in this room, in our house, where we've set a pool of warm water, lights turned low, and I hold you as you moan low, guttural, the kind of sound that animals make. And at that moment, you are the strongest person I have ever known, the most sacred, which is not to say on a pedestal, but naked, wet, messy, bleeding. And I am also naked, doing the only thing I can, holding your hand, hoping you won't break my fingers with your grasp. And at that moment, no one exists except you and me and this child being we talk to. We are doing this together, all of us, opening up to a new world, even as the midwife leans over and our friends circle and bring water and you kick waves and we hear faint, distant voices like the ocean. They're coming, they're crowning, and it's like in astronomy, where you read about a star that falls in on itself of its own gravity, curving space, connecting to other universes. This is our world contracting, expanding, exploding, and I finally know what I could not without being here with you. So this poem is called Madhuvidya. I started with a quote from the Rig Veda. The bee desirous of honey sang a praise song for you. Sweet honey knowledge, how you put your finger to the freckle next to your nose, how you mouth your thoughts, me trying to make out your words, you in your world, how you write, never inside the lines, in invisible inks and secret codes, how you pick flowers for your mother from the neighbor's garden you know you're not supposed to touch, how you work on your cards with cutout hearts and cloud swirls and I love yous, how high you climb any tree that's nearby, no fear, how you hang upside down and then reminding me of my own fear, how you pause before jumping from so high, how you play rough, you in your body, trying out your new jujitsu moves on your father, how you run down the hall screaming, wearing only a t-shirt and no pants, how you swing the big knife down on the coconut to crack it open, how you scream when you fall from your bike so loud the whole block can hear, how you're last to be picked for kickball, bringing back all of my own memories, how you stretch out in bed so long now with your mother's hands rubbing down the soft fuzz along your back, how you pick one parent, then another to snuggle up to each night, your soft snores, reminding us you're still there, just beyond the edge of our bed, your giggles and your sleep, your secret worlds, how you hug your hot water bottle when you're sick, and how, when you can't sleep, you lead me out to the living room couch, making a fort of pillows and blankets so you can tell me about your day in the dark. What's left with all your changes of your big eyes and long eyelashes and raised eyebrows, how people used to say you were born with a wise face. That's for you, Carmen. Okay, I think I will do maybe some season poems. So I've got 4 more poems because it's fall. These are kind of poems about the fall. First one is called Fire Season. It's fire season again. Wildfires bloom like spring meadows, brilliant, turning the sky yellow with ash and asbestos, obliterating the sun. We close the windows while outside cops keep killing black boys at road stops and black girls in their homes, and proud boys swagger child soldiers with AR-15s, believing themselves sparks to reignite civil war. It's fire season again. The people of these lands knew fire. Slow burn and seasonal, how to keep the dead wood low, making the impassable passable, how the ash replenishes the earth, what is needed for new grass to grow, to germinate the buried seed. It's fire season again. Time to clear out the undergrowth, burn down cop cars and precinct stations, bring down tyrants. After the harvest, all debts are paid. The land must be made ready. There are many more seasons to come. So this is acorn season, also fire season. A few times a year we go to hot springs, privileged to pay for a night at Orr or Vichy or Morton or Harbin, Northern Pomo and Lake Miwok and Wapo medicine waters. I wonder if the old people still visit, what kinds of arrangement they have, the Grattan or Dry Creek or Middletown, the federally unrecognized or terminated with the resort owners and operators, or if they've given up. This is settler country now, creeks and grasses trampled by cows and ordered by Vineyard Row and Asian Chime, accessible to all, but only if you make a reservation by credit card. In October at Vichy, it was acorn season. The trails covered with round ones, long ones, dark ones. How many kinds of oaks? How many names? Few remember, and none of us visitors know the Pomo words for tanbark, bidu shale, black oak, dishi shale. The Miwok words for tan oak, kataami. What happens to the oak trees when there's no people to gather? No one to wait for the elders to say, now is the time to set up acorn camp, to beat the branches with long sticks, catching and gathering in long burden baskets of willow, tule, and sedge, to store in granaries lined with mugwort for the long winter, to crush to fine flour in grinding stones hollowed over 6,000 years. Now it's November. At Harbin, there's a warm breeze, fire season still with us, the new climate of the Pacific coast. On the trails, all that's left are the acorn caps. In Pomo, dishi daboma, though the acorn woodpecker still holds one tight in its red-crowned beak before dropping it safely in its deep, knotty cache. The oaks are brown now, the ones that survived the fire. But there are whole new growths, bay laurel, manzanita, and figs. I am gifted with a jackrabbit springing under the bridge, unafraid of snare or rabbit drive. a mother and child deer a dozen feet away, staring back at my presence in this place. And as we leave, two red-tailed hawks, playing or flirting or fighting in the air for whatever one has hanging in her claw. After the fire, the hills are alive. In China camp, we slow at the coyote wandering in the middle of the road. He stares at us, unafraid, like a street dog from my village in Ecuador. Or maybe like Ishi, wandering in from the high mountains, the last of his people, looking at us again, wondering, what are you doing here? And who is leaving prayers for the oaks? So sometimes there's living animals and sometimes there's roadkill. Driving back from the river, a glint catches my eye. Shiny black striped pelt, fresh in the sun. Last night's offering to the median. Farther down, a raccoon. You rarely see their faces, just the flattened scalp. This one has its head whole, face up, its masked smile lingering on the rear view. Then, a quarter mile down, two more. Father, mother, children, searching for their lost ones. They've found each other now, in that silent highway of roadkills, marked in star maps. Skunk, opossum, raccoon, deer, coyote. Safe now from exhaust and fumes, from rubber, tar, and speed. And I will end with a moon gratitude poem. We watch from the highest hill. Moon hangs round and orange and surprising, like a cat on the edge of the city. We thank Moon for counting off the months, for the ebb and flow of blood, for the hunt and yip of coyote, for the tides and the fish, for night-blooming flowers, for pomegranates and persimmons, grapefruit and orange, for pulling up the first shoots, and for the sap of the maple, and the resin and amber, for defying gravity and giving us a place to look beyond ourselves and down, for the lunacy and locura, for abandon, for unburdening, for the gathering and the healing toward wholeness, for the glow raining lightly on my people, over and beyond these close horizons, for the certainty of us walking on the same earth, in the same dark, under the same light. Thank you so much for listening. And thanks, Michael, for inviting me.
All right, thank you so much, Fernando Marti. I want to remind people, I think Fernando has a few publications or something that are available for sale or barter or whatever. You can probably just threaten him to give you or else. But and our next reader also will have at least a few copies of his book. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Cyrus Armajani. And I don't know his work, but I'm very much looking forward to it. He's been published in a variety of venues, including Poetry Magazine and some other prestigious titles. And he has a nomadic press book called Benefits of Doubt. And he also, among his worthwhile endeavors, he works with, I guess, youth in the criminal justice system, juvenile justice system, in terms of literacy things and whatever. So obviously very essential work to do. So it gives me a great pleasure to present Cyrus Armajani and remind people that after this we'll have a very brief break, and then we'll have an open session which looks like it will be relatively brief, but be good to hang around for that too. All right, Cyrus.
Hi, everybody. First, before starting, I wanted to just say how grateful I am to be here. This is the first reading I've been to in person in the last couple of years, so it's super special to be here. Thank you to Eric and Michael for hosting us, and a big thank you for Fernando for inviting me to be a part of this evening. So when I was thinking about what poems I wanted to read tonight, I wasn't planning on reading from the book. I brought it, and then I looked at the cover, and I thought, well, I have to read a couple from this. Fernando did the cover art for the book, the cover and the back. So this is definitely a kind of book you can judge by its cover, because it's so wonderful. And so I'll just start with a couple from the book. This is called Election Day. I close the curtains and stand, ballot in hand, and remember the physicist Niels Bohr had a horseshoe hanging above the doorway to his house to ward off evil spirits. His scientist friend was perplexed. But Niels, you are a scientist. You don't really believe in these superstitions, do you? Of course, I'm a scientist, but I hung the horseshoe there because I've heard even if you don't believe, it can still work. You only live like a Plymouth once. And in the end, there is the end. And in the end, there is the beginning and end of things. We might remember a boy on a hill of trash eating a piece of bread. We might remember the first and last name of the first person who made us feel the word feel. Where have you gone, Nellie Perlmutter? We might remember the billboard that implored us to drink whiskey that night. We might remember the first time and why after the first time we couldn't erase the velvet from our tongues. We might remember the naked carpenter named Percy. We might remember the snow that fell in Siberia in the winter of '93 was orange and smelled like rotten eggs. I will remember my first car and how it died, 17 deaths. In life, the foreshadowing is unintentional. All right, so these are new poems, all on these first few are all on the theme of home and freedom. And I start with a quote from Maya Angelou. So these are her words. She said, "The ache for home lives in all of us. The safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned." So that's Maya Angelou. I love that. Home free. Growing up, waiting for the bus, learning to read street signs, all activity on this block is being recorded. Teaches you, you are not safe and you are the reason. Thanks. And this one starts with some words from James Baldwin on the police as an occupying force. Their very presence is an insult, and it would be even if they spent their entire day feeding gumdrops to children. That's James Baldwin. Free. Some places police should not be allowed to go, at least not with a gun or cuffs or tasers or badge or baton. Hospitals, schools, bookstores, churches, libraries, baseball games, funerals, fairs, shopping malls, parks, post offices, cafes, casinos, restaurants, bars, train stations, airports, or anywhere there are children, senior citizens, veterans, people listening to music, or people who are happy, angry, sad, or experiencing one of an infinite number of emotions. Home. Do you remember when a stream looked like an ocean? Your older brother knew better, told you it was a lake. It's not always a mistake to pull grass, fill up your hat, call a surprise a secret. Words you confuse, you use like river and sea. When the sun burns off the clouds, very little else changes. Something changes. Creak of an oar, rock in a creek, dark waters under an orange bridge we should stop calling golden. Nothing. I do not know myself. When I stand in front of a tree, nothing brings me back to me. Nothing from a creek beneath my feet, nothing from the Pacific. The city doesn't love me, but I can pretend. Stars and sidewalk, a carton of milk at home, loved by the morning. Okay, this is called He Says. He says, I promise the ruling class is in your room somewhere. She says, there's also always a communist at the door and never money. The clouds had only one job, to teach me how to count. Instead, they taught me I would die and never understand rain, blue, crops, markets. Authorities say radiation level is normal. If tariffs won't, suicide will. If suicide doesn't, borrowing will. If borrowing won't, the ocean is on its way. I'm reading these, and sometimes I wish I had the generosity of spirit Fernando does. So I had so appreciated the spirit of generosity in your work has captured me. I've heard you read before, but for tonight it really hit me. The waters. I walk in those waters, these waters. I breathe that air, this air. It must be the water. It must, the air. I am responsible for the world. I inhabit the water. Stop writing about a river, that river. Stop writing a blue jay, a blue jay. If you must write about a bird, if you then a raven or a crow or a starling or a crow and a starling, comfortable in cities, around people in cities. All the varieties of suburban grass are dead, grass dead or bent on dying slowly. Bent bullets, I offer you, world, my knees. Bruised and bloodied and blood and bloody, I gather snow for you, world, in 2 bowls, chipped ceramic bowls for you, to eat, to stop the swelling. Plywood. I saw dancers and doorknobs walking through the city, and the toilets all wanted someone to hold hands with. Where are you from? Someone once said. I am from all the names on the brother's neck. I saw plywood and home loans running through the city in search of a desert. Where are you from? Someone once lied. I am from one happy memory from someone else's childhood. I saw cough syrup and solos stumbling through the city, everyone stocking their silos with stacks of bologna sandwiches. Where are you from? Someone once asked. A city council meeting. Someone once answered, I am from clean water for everyone. This is a true story. Hello. Hi. There are horror stories that start this way. Of homes, entire neighborhoods, then like a virus, whole cities commodified by roving bands of feral speculators sorting through our compost, asking villainous questions like, what's your name? I respond, my name is, the wall is the weakest part of a wall. My name is, killing you won't kill you. My name is, behold that great rising rent spewing fire into the sky. My name is, alas, the burning is the fire's greatest weakness. Yeah. at the door. There is no door, yet here they are, opening the door and walking into my room. I see 3 of them. It is quite likely they're just one person, baker, police officer, midwife. Would you like a beer, I ask. Sure, the baker answers. When do you plan to shoot me, I ask. Take it easy, take it easy. Is this a twist off, the midwife wants to know. Yes, I answer. Or you can use your handcuffs. Well, cheers, they say, to poetry, to the future, to good credit. May you always live in a country with a competent navy. Again, I ask, when will you shoot me? Already done, they say. Didn't you notice how deeply we bowed when we walked in? I thought you were taking off your shoes. Very funny, they say in unison. Then they ask, why do you love basketball, jazz? You didn't let us finish the question. It doesn't matter what the question is, the answer is always the same. All right. I got a couple more. Let me make sure it's just a couple. Yep, just a couple more. All right. This one I want to dedicate to Fernando. It's on fatherhood and capitalism. Maybe I should just leave it at that. That could be the whole poem about fatherhood and capitalism. All right. Why are we leaving the cats behind, Baba? To keep the house company, my sweetheart. In the meantime, will you climb an oak tree for me, my love? I don't think I can. Will you buy me new shoes, Baba? Shoes for climbing? Buy. I said, Baba, that's what you think, my love. How about that hill? Will you climb that hill for your Baba one last time to hold fast to the city, to remember and do not be afraid of the gun-toting real estate agents, right, Baba? How did you know what I was going to say, sweetheart? Because I listen better, Baba, when you're in the other room talking to yourself. Actually, now there's 2 more. There's one short one I want to read, and then that'll be it. So this is back to the home and free poems. Home free. I'm also noticing some of the overlaps between our work here also with the hawk. Okay, so it starts with a hawk. A hawk hovers at the edge of the sky. A seagull drifts above the waves. Sleeping in the clouds is cold. I have seen none of this. I have no choice but to imagine wine heavy on the grass, China closing 1,000 minds, birds vanish from the sky, sleeping in the clouds is cold. We sit together, the skyscraper and I, until only the skyscraper remains. All right, this is the last one called Free. The city's skunks are not skunks, they are purple. The city's raccoons are not raccoons, they used to live in the city. The city's roosters are not roosters, they are sirens. The city's strays are not cats, they are dogs who think they are men. The city's squirrels are not squirrels, they are mothers nervous their kids play outside because police think their boys are men. But the city's boys are boys. Our boys. Our boys. Our boys are our boys. If we repeat it, it will be true. The way writing lines in elementary school was true and not true and true because teachers, good teachers, sane societies believe in second chances because learning is second chances, making the same mistake over and over again until you learn not to push, to be gentle, learn to spell beautiful. Thanks.
Cyrus, thank you so much. That was very, very nice. So I guess we're going to have how about an 8-minute break? And then we're going to have a relatively brief, quite brief, open session. So is there anybody who is going to read who hasn't yet signed up? No? All right. Well, okay. Well, it's going to be a brief. So yeah, we're going to 8 minutes from now we're going to conclude with. Oh, good. I'll sign you right up. So we'll do that in about 8 minutes.
I thought we started a minute.
Yeah. Thank you.
7 minutes. No, 9 minutes.
Yeah, that was fun. Like hearing the quick, hearing that. Yeah.
So we're able to give a very small honorarium to the poets. If you'd like to augment that, feel free. Thank you.
All right, folks. Whenever we're ready, we're ready. So that was fabulous, two featured poets. And now I'm happy to say that the reading list has expanded to 4 poets. It was very good. I'm very impressed. People rose to the occasion. So I will read one quick thing just to get things underway, called In the Treetops. Let me confess. To earn my daily bread, I sold ragtime bands into bondage in Beijing. While clouds drooped under the weight of their antlers, I hid under the cannabis blooms, a speck of dust in a black Orphic teardrop. I saw Mustafa the Magnificent deflower the rose with his mustache and told no one. I voted for Jello Biafra for mayor, president, and queen. I scat-sang under my breath a truckload of onions, and summers floated the Nile with Huck Finn, dark as a cigar. As high noon approaches, fear gnaws my shadow. My breath trembles in the treetops. Good. Thank you. And the first of the open readers is Rene Vargas Zamora, who does haiku, and he's requested that people not applaud in between the various segments because the silence is an essential part of what is creating the ambiance for the poetry. So we respect that. So Rene.
This thickness in the air advances intensity, repelled only with your arrival. Less than a fraction of a second, you appeared, only to hide away once again. A finesse, so gentle and accurate, her breath faces through me. Cosmic girl, traveling far and wide, holding a starlight within, so bright and beautiful, I hold no resentment every time you choose to leave. Cleopatra, esa fortaleza y convicción reflejadas por todo tu cuerpo, una armadura celestial. ¿Qué gestos te harán sonreír? ¿Qué frase te desarmará? Every time I turn to you, I pay close attention to hidden treasures you may speak of. I sing praise on mountaintops, rivers, lakes, monuments of energy that align me to you. Does the power of this note reveal the level of intimacy I wish to share? Colibrí, una admiración explosiva que detiene el tiempo, lo suficiente para imaginar que una vez estuviste cerca. I embark on adventures just to find you, hidden between the unexpected. I've been thinking about the time I spent with you, that short novel I read again and again. The things we've shared, I dare not speak of, fearing you discard something I hold true. Beloved, I'm aware it would have eventually ended, just like everything else will. This is a universal law. Tell me, did you not also enjoy embracing one another? Did it not make you smile? There was still time to savor something, that which lingers when I approach you.
Bravo. So the next reader is Kaya.
Am I allowed to read two? I can only read one. It's okay.
Need two 10-minute poems?
No, oh my God. No. I don't like hearing myself that much. This is a very Bay Area poem. I don't remember how many of you remember the Ghost Ship Fire, or if that's like the right crowd for this. But this is a poem in dedication to somebody who passed away in that fire named Cash. And the poem is called Morning Painting. Distorted girl, I know you only in tandem. Have seen your name bolded on the sheet of the lost, heard it whispered in interviews, witnessed tributes on Facebook, on walls. Girl through fire, through fear, girl. After you died, I kept your Instagram open for days, stared into the flowers swept through your hair until I felt them on my own cheek. Imagine painting you through my phone, softening your selfies, pouring vibrant color onto your feed until it throbbed. I read testimonies to you, peered through squared windows into your life. I worry our lives into adjacency, worry to see your body mirroring the spaces of my own. For the tarot cards I read, thinking of you. For the photographs my roommate hung on our wall. For your lover, enemy of my enemies, child of my childhood home. For the friends that died there with you. For Ghost Ship, which sank in a night. For Oakland, burdened by transplants, burdened by fire, burdened by us. Is it okay that I've kept these words all year? Is it okay that I see you still in me? Impose your face onto all of my friends, your death onto their life, myself into you. Say, Kaya, learn I am more than the vulnerability of me, more than echoes, than my music, my art. After the fire, I went to Paris, dreamt your face onto my hostel sheets. I carried you through La Seine, out of Le Sacré-Cœur, into the bursting artist studios stuffed with flint to be. My l'inconnu, I build you in my grief, press the soft spots of my dread onto your death. You are the released burden of a body, the haze sounds in my head. You are your friend when she tells me, redistribute power each time you can. The edged water chasms show me when they remember your Pacific's foam. You are the voice your lover sings. I will choose how I die. 1 year after your death, I hold a candle for you in Columbus, let my eyes blur into heat. On Trans Day of Remembrance, I am thinking of you through my grief, a precondition to you as I see you, as I know you both are and aren't. I'm thinking of you in California, where I've buried my own heart. Burn State, California bleeds bodies from every edge, cuts its city with overpasses, then spikes the underpasses so they shelter only cars. My state, which hoards the Spanish missions, sickly, sweet with stained glass light. My state, which murders the natives, the Chicanx, each time that it can. I'm thinking of you, of me, of this legacy of burn, of the Google buses followed behind wagon treads, the glimmering asphalt smoothed over deserts, through apartments, under patched up tents, each border fenced with razors, each street filled with cops. Colonial nightmare, parent of morning paintings, resistance, conflict, life. I'm thinking, Cash, of being with you, to ask you how it felt to hold your body on a stage, to give you back your body, to know you as your own, to paint you through the fogged city, the morning light, paint you in the relief of you, in transcendence, to be, was. And I promise the other one is super short, but it's another San Francisco poem. And it's also kind of sad. Sorry. Okay, I'll read a different one because I can't find that. And this one is very short as well. It's called On the Other Edge of O'Hara's Line. But am I, miss? Everyone is sticky except for slurred me. Oh, how I'd like you to be in the car with me as I slide home from Capitola along the California one. The cliffs I pass stretch and shrink, and this is where we saw all those dead fish, isn't it, am I? Those months ago? I'll call you now to bring you here, to tell what I am meant to tell. In the car, I thought of turning my interior exterior and sharing it, the shape like a drop. Thanks.
That was Kaya, and now Ali.
Greetings, everybody. Clearly, this is dedicated to Fernando for forcing me to read. Or daring me to read. Okay, this is called Kneel Down and Whisper. I watch the parts of me that want to run away from togetherness, from guilt, from sinking away from the occasion. Child parts of me that seek ease and comfort in solitary play. Child parts of me that grab and gloat by severing connections. Child parts of me that simmer low expectations in the not disappointing pot. Child parts of me who punish myself with scrapes of loneliness before I can be punished by the lashes of the disappointed. Sleep is medicine, soup is medicine, home and warmth, and the smell of my baby's cheeks against mine is the medicine. My angels sit on the stoop and guard my door, weaving an invisible trap around my roof, so the past and the future and the ones I have disappointed cannot enter. I speak. I've given everything and I have nothing left. I hear. But you promised. but all good friends give more. But real loyalty and love drive you to keep giving. But you abandon me. But if you really cared, there would be time. The child parts of me bang their heads on the door and wail with self-disgust. I plot. Sever all ties now. Never go back. Tiptoe away and no one will notice. My angels stay on the stoop, facing outward and guarding with steadfast resolve. They speak. Return to the rubble. We will wait here. I invoke the adult parts of me that are poised, attentive, and listening carefully for the angel's orders. Adult parts of me who hold a weeping woman on the threshold of sacrificing everything for her family. Adult parts of me who stay listening while my child's voice cracks with acceptance of the pain woven into growth. Adult parts of me who stand rooted at an infant's memorial and welcome the heat of tears that pour limitless. Adult parts of me who chop and mend and scrub the daily work, talking all the while with my domesticated angels. Bravery is medicine. Apology is medicine. My angels whisper to me, "This is the only way." I return to the rubble and extract the words from my head and heart, yellowing rolls of brittle text, coaxing them into action. I speak to the child parts of me and trust they are listening from beneath a pile of dusty blankets. I sing, "You have been disappointed and have disappointed others. You have been abandoned and have abandoned others. You have given everything, and your well has grown deeper." I kneel down and whisper to the child parts of me, "Return to the rubble. I will hold your hand." Solidarity between the parts of me is the medicine, and accountability is why the angels stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. And then we will conclude the evening with Delayed, the final poet of the night.
I love you, child.
All right, this is a poem that I wrote in 2020 when I was when I just turned 12 years old. And I just turned 12 years old, and it was the height of lockdown. And it's called Another Day. Another day passes. The wheel of the sun and moon turns. Another day, another day, another day. Another day goes by, me sitting in my room spinning, disoriented, looking at the screen of a computer, with senseless words and senseless meaning coming out of it. My ears perk up to receive the sound, but I receive nothing. Another day passes, with the virus and the hate raging outside. Another day passes without me feeling the touch of a loved one's hand or the fresh smell of a breeze outside in a canyon. Another day passes without me seeing my friends. Another day passes stuck in my room, spinning in this pink box of a house, in this pink box of a room, on my mattress, feeling sad and lonely. Another day goes by, another month goes by, another year goes by, and yet I still feel longing. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank everyone for being here.